Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm not talking as loud as I normally do this morning because my son is asleep across the hallway. The kid played 2 baseball games last night and he is worn out. And I just got up, I woke up at like 4:30 this morning. Sometimes I just do that. But I woke up at 4:30 this morning because I just had some things on my mind and I've been working this morning. So I don't think I've ever covered a BitLord tweet before, but I was going to show you this one. The reason I don't cover them is because there's a lot of people on social media that just say provocative things to try to tweak people. But I think that he asks a question here, which a lot of people would probably see as legit, but I don't think a lot of people really have the answer that I would give to this. And that is, and this is from Michael at VAL5 Links. He brought this to my attention. They wrote an article about his tweet. In a viral tweet, BitLord asks his following of 127,000 people on Twitter why Ripple's native token has not yet staged a big bull rally this year. And this is the tweet. He says, "Can someone explain to me why XRP hasn't pumped yet?" Well, I think that part of the answer is in his question. I think that when you apply the word pump to XRP, you are completely missing what Ripple and XRP represent. I don't think that XRP has ever been about a pump. I think that XRP is something much larger than anything in crypto, and I believe that the foundation that has been being laid over the course of the last few years is being done in a coordinated way, and I think it's been coordinated between branches of government worldwide. This when you talk about a pump, I think you should be talking about things, other digital assets that are more or less just things that have been put out in many cases by people who don't even have a project, but they're just ICOs and those types of things when I think of the word pump. But just to go expound on that just a little bit, when I think of XRP, and remember, it's not a coincidence that the government can give Bitcoin and Ethereum a designation, and they just can't quite figure out what to label XRP. I always remember what Cryptopolis, many of you online or on Twitter follow Cryptopolis, and he's a very smart guy. He's a friend of mine. But Cryptopolis has said over and over and over that you can't regulate what you don't define. And I've always believed that XRP has intentionally not been defined. If it's not defined, it doesn't come under any regulatory authority. I believe this has been by design. I believe that they have intentionally not designated XRP. I think they will at some point. And I think that the real answer to Crypto BitLord's question is the day that you see them define what XRP is will let you know that they are ready and that all systems are go. And I believe that's really the answer. But when people are talking about pumps, that's not what I'm thinking about with XRP. I've never sat around and worried about when XRP is going to quote pump. What I'm paying attention to is things like this, because I think this is there's a much bigger picture in play when it comes to Ripple and XRP. What I'm looking at is Jared Kushner giving His Majesty Hamad bin Isa bin Salman, I can't even say all those words, of the Kingdom of Bahrain, a Torah scroll for a synagogue in Bahrain. What I'm thinking when I see that question is that Jared Kushner's buddy, Ken Kersten, is on Ripple's board. And I've seen pictures of Ken Kirsten in a box with Ivanka Trump and with Jared Kushner. And when I'm seeing things like this, and when he's asking questions about pump, what I'm thinking about is things like this. Against this backdrop, Ripple has been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years.
When I was running for Ripple for the last 3 years, the APAC MENA business, and MENA has been the fastest adopter of technology from Ripple to date. So we have signed banks in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, in Oman, possibly in Kuwait shortly. So the appetite for embracing Ripple's DLT technology for cross-border payments, enormous interest. So the enthusiasm of the regulator, the central banks, to also encourage the use of Ripple technology to build new infrastructure for payment rails, not just within the country, but across the GCC, I think augurs really, really well for the adoption of the latest technology in this region.
Now, when I was at Swell in Singapore, 2019 Swell, I've actually got a picture of myself with Dilip Rao, and I remember standing in that room and watching what was going on at Swell. And I can promise you, this is not about some pump. That is not what this is. This has nothing to do with a pump. Now, I'm not telling you that that at some point the XRP price will not, quote, pump. But what I am telling you is that this is about something much larger than having a 20% or a 30% or even a 50% XRP day. What Ripple has been laying, the foundation they've been laying for the last, I guess, 7 years, and in my opinion, before that, this is not just about some pump. It's bigger than that, much bigger. It's intergalactic. Okay. Now, CS May 144K sent me this, and I thought this was a pretty, I would call it a thread from someone who seemed to not really have a dog in the fight in terms of they weren't really passionate about, they're not like an XRP maxi or anything, just being an honest, coming from an honest standpoint. Thread on XRP Ripple. I've been an active XRP investor since 2013. I've spent lots of time researching and comparing altcoins and have XRP ranked at the top. XRP is a promising project with an even more promising future for long-term investors. Here's why. XRP is a digital asset utilizing distributed ledger technology like Bitcoin, but that's where the similarities stop. XRP is 1,000 times faster than Bitcoin. XRP is 1,000 times cheaper than Bitcoin. XRP is better for the environment, no mining. XRP is more scalable. Ripple is the only company on the market that is actively pushing for regulations. They've been working closely with government agencies to ensure they are fully compliant. This gives XRP a huge advantage compared to other alts, which will eventually vanish. Data shows that 79% of XRP investors fell victim to FOMO during the 2017 pump and dump. This has spawned lots of haters for XRP since many had lost their money, which created a subconscious negative bias against the coin. And then it goes on, while many criticize XRP for being dead, that is certainly not the case. It's up over 10,000% since inception. That's an interesting figure. The logarithmic scale also shows we're just seeing a similar trend we saw 2015 to 17. So they're showing charts. Now, I just thought that was a pretty good little thread there, and it goes on a little bit further, but I just wanted to show you that portion there. Pretty good assessment. Okay, I wanted to remind everybody, this is a quote from this article that Ripple wrote at the end of 2019. 2020 will be the year of the digital asset. CEO Brad Garlinghouse is even bolder, predicting that half of the top 20 biggest banks in the world will actively hold and trade digital assets in 2020. He is also one of many on the team that believes fiat currencies will go digital in the next year. So I'm telling you, folks, there are a lot of shoes to drop left in this year. Write it down. And then the Cryptic Poet put this out. Ethereum 2.0 release date on track for November. Here are some key improvements. It says Ethereum 2.0 will ship before 2020 ends. It will transition the largest public blockchain from proof of work to proof of stake consensus algorithm. Ethereum 2.0 is promising an eventual transaction speed of 100,000 per second. And then this Roses on the Moon says this will be a catalyst for the crypto market. Mark my words. I agree. I think that it should be but think about all the things that are happening in 2020. PolySign. Remember PolySign? I do. Okay. I don't know who this is, but he follows me. I'll follow him. This is something that I think has really been overlooked in this market. An entire asset class redefined almost overnight by COVID. Total value of all U.S. commercial real estate is $16 trillion, now entering the largest bear market since the late 80s. 50% price drop wipes out $8 trillion. Major economic drag knock on effects huge. Yeah, this is a big freaking deal, folks. What is happening with the real estate market is unbelievable. The commercial real estate market, overnight, office space that used to be rented as just the norm is not going to be rented anymore. You know what I think is going to happen? You know where I think there's going to be a boom in the next 30 years? I believe that now that many of these companies realize that they are no longer going to need physical office space, you're going to have a tremendous work from home workforce. And I believe that you're going to see a lot of these places, malls and different things, knocked down. And I believe residential neighborhoods and things are going to be built where commercial used to be. That's where I think this is going. But it's really amazing that you could see something wiped out so fast. Now, I played you a clip from this. This is Joe Rogan's podcast. I played you this part of this clip last week, but I wanted to remind you of something because something popped up in the last day that this guy actually predicted, this Adam Curry guy. He's talking on Joe Rogan about Bitcoin and how you need to have at least one.
Online shopping to use Visa,
this is why
Express.
Silicon Valley is competing with the U.S. with the Federal Reserve to be your bank.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be your bank, baby. Everybody wants it because that's when they control you.
Bro.
But that's also when you get loans at negative interest rate, so they actually pay you to take the loan, to which you can pay off your student loan. This is going to be
You're scaring the fuck out of me.
No.
Bro.
This is what you wanted. You wanted universal basic income. Here it comes. This is going to, and by the way, it's going to work. This is the crazy thing. Now the control will also work, but the economy will be steerable. I mean, I think that part will really work. But let me tell you, the apocalypse is coming, and you're going to need a Bitcoin. At least one.
Are you a Bitcoin salesman?
No,
Adam Curry?
no. I was very anti-Bitcoin.
Really?
I was very anti-Bitcoin until I sold a shitload of them at like $900, and I could have really
made a lot of money.
Yeah, I got them for nothing. People just gave them to me in the beginning, and I denied it. And then when you look at 10 years, I'm like, okay, I don't. Fuck all the altcoins and all that stuff.
That's what I was going to ask.
I don't give a shit about
that.
But
is there a risk in? But here's the question about Bitcoin: is there a risk in having that be the standard? Like, why can't there be competing cryptocurrencies? Like, why are we so? Do we have to get committed to one? And if we do get committed to one, is there the possibility of some sort of manipulation, the same way we've seen with all the other currencies? Well, when people get involved, money.
10 years of data have shown that Bitcoin really is the only one that you can trust.
Right.
Now it does.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
I just said right for no reason.
Yeah, the way I see it.
Yeah,
the way I see it. That's really the only one that you cannot manipulate, and all of the other coins are based off of it.
Do you know Andreas Antonopoulos?
No, the name rings a bell.
Brilliant
I know
guy.
Max Kaiser. You know.
Okay, sure. I've seen his videos as
Max,
well.
Max is. I've learned a lot from, Max has been saying this from day one. Anyway, so we have enough historical information to see that.
Right.
But that is increased in value no matter what you look at.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. dollar, back to my $5,000 truck in the '70s, $50,000 now. That value of that dollar has diminished by 10% because they've just been printing more and more money.
I agree with him about that Bitcoin is going to do well, but these guys, they're on level one still, or at least he's on level one. But one thing he said in there that I thought was interesting, he said what this is going to go to universal basic income. And then a week later, I saw this CoinDesk tweet: new eToro's Good Dollar initiative aims to provide universal basic income to some of the world's poorest by incentivizing crypto traders to yield farm on its platform. You see where all this is going? Then DJ Peter Voss, I like this tweet. Steve Mnuchin says, now is not the time to worry about deficits. Well, I've been hearing this my entire life, is that we just can't address this yet. So I think this is an intentional collapse of the United States system to roll it into a new one. I mean, because these guys aren't dumb and they're doing this for a reason. It's taking, this is from Digital Asset Controller. Let me make sure I follow them. Yep. It takes some time, but it's finally happening. Digital Asset Investor copied me on this. Georgia, are you ready? Apparently this is a message that he got from Binance.us. And apparently Binance.us is about to onboard Georgia. I don't know if they have yet, but that's what it looks like. Now, XRP Crypto Wolf, Ripple's Senior Vice President of Customer Success, Marcus Treacher, said RippleNet and ISO standardization are about to transform cross-border payments, and more XRP-powered ODL corridors going to launch in the APAC and EMEA regions by the end of 2020. How about them apples? And then XRP Crypto Wolf, this is from Emmy, I'm drawing a blank here. Her name is Emi Yoshikawa. She's Ripple's representative in Japan. She said, PayID is a payment method that encompasses cryptocurrency and existing finance. Ripple expects PayID to serve as a standard protocol for interoperability between fiat and blockchain. And Mickey B. Fresh sent me this. He did a whole thread on PayID. And I always laugh when I show a Mickey B. Fresh tweet like this, because he reminds me of my father when I was a kid. At my father's office, he had I had a box where anything he read that he thought was interesting and wanted to pass along to me, he would take a highlight or two and he would put it in my box. And my dad's a really smart guy. And so I always laughed about how he would highlight all this stuff, because it's an indication, it's almost like an obsessive compulsive mentality. And I think that Mickey B. Fresh, well, I know Mickey B. Fresh is a very smart guy, but when I see yellow highlighter like this, I automatically say, oh, okay, this is one of these guys it's almost like they're trying to get all this information out of their brain, and it's like an obsessive compulsive thing. It makes me laugh. PayID is Ripple and open coalitions for the next wave of DeFi and Interledger that can confirm the full KYC AML regulations. DeFi does not have to only existing in an unregulated marketplace. PayID address attaches to a digital identity linked time, a wallet or bank account. Right here it says composable with existing standards and namespaces. By design, PayID is highly abstract and generalized. As a result, PayID can easily wrap existing standards or namespaces, such as Ethereum name service, unstoppable domains, or service-specific identifiers. And by the way, I've been telling you about how you can get unstoppable domains, and there's a link in the description, very video I do. But unstoppable domains is already integrated with PayID. They've got, when you're inputting all of your different addresses, you can also input a PayID. So they've already integrated with these guys. I'm not going to go through the rest of this thread, but if you've got some time, go check this out and give he's at Mr. Fresh Time. Give Mickey B. Fresh a follow. Really brilliant guy. Now, XRP Crypto Wolf also tweeted this out. CNBC Mad Money host Jim Cramer says he's now fixated on owning cryptocurrency as he fears massive inflation because of the trillions of dollars in stimulus packages. Jim Cramer also said his kids will be much more comfortable owning Bitcoin than gold. I've told you for over 2 years on this channel that by the time this is over, I said it 2 years ago, by the time this is over, Jim Cramer will be selling digital assets on his show. This is the first time this is the beginning of that transition right here. And I'm going to show you. But I literally said that this would happen, and here you go. Watch this clip. I've got 2 clips, and I want you to see how completely clueless Jim Cramer is. Look at the look on his face while this clip is played.
Security set up in the world, right? Same thing with Bitcoin, in the sense of there's many different ways to get exposure, right? So you can go today and you can simply use GBTC, right, with Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and you can get exposure to the actual underlying asset, right?
Look, he's taking
you
notes.
Can actually buy Bitcoin and you can hold it in a custody provider. So there's everything from BlockFi, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini. All these guys have kind of institutional grade custody providers. Then you can actually buy Bitcoin and you can take possession of it yourself. Most Bitcoiners are going to argue that you should take possession yourself. They like the self-sovereignty, they like the security, all that kind of stuff.
But what, is it in here?
Yeah, well, so you can have a hardware device, you can hold it on a wallet on your phone. There's a whole spectrum of ways to own it. What I always tell people is, if you know yourself and you say, there's no way that I know anything technical, you can just go buy and get exposure in a stock ticker, right? You can just buy GBTC. If you say, hey, you know what, I want to go kind of level 2, I can buy actual Bitcoin on one of these exchanges and put it into an institutional grade custody provider.
So GBTC is like GLD?
Exactly, for Bitcoin.
And for those of you that don't know, GLD is a gold ETF, okay? And so it's just now dawning on Jim Cramer that he can get GBTC, which is a Bitcoin, it's like a Bitcoin trust, but he's just figuring out now, after all this time, this shows you a lot about what's happened to the traditional financial media and how out of touch they are. He's just finding out that there's a thing he can invest in through the same markets the way he invests currently, that he can invest in Bitcoin.
Really? And it's $11?
It's $11. There's a premium.
Why wouldn't people do that? Is there a VIG there?
There's a premium, and it can get kind of nasty at certain times. Like in the really, really obviously frothy times with Bitcoin, it can go up. But again, if that's the exposure you want, right, then you can just do it there. So it's kind of a spectrum of control. But I think the bigger thing here, when you compare Bitcoin and gold, you'll like this, I think, which is with gold. If I said to you, how much gold is in the circulating supply, you'll give me kind of a really close.
It's close to 1% every year. So it's incredibly healthy. The shortage of gold right now is extraordinary.
Yeah, and you'll tell me a pretty close estimate of what the circulating supply is. Sure. You'll tell me a pretty close estimate to the incoming daily supply. Yeah. I think part of what the younger generation is realizing with Bitcoin is everything is provably scarce. So one of the big differences between gold and Bitcoin is right now, there's some guy somewhere who's digging through his field. All of a sudden he finds a gold deposit, right? It's not going to move the market materially, but it increases the gold supply, right? And nobody knows, and there's a latency of information, all that kind of stuff. With Bitcoin, everything is provable on chain. So I know every single day, and I can prove to you that 900 Bitcoin are getting created each day. Then I can prove to you on chain exactly 18,460,000 Bitcoin.
Okay, and then there was one other clip that I wanted to play for you here. It's kind of where he decides he's going to invest in Bitcoin. Poor Jim. We need to let Jim Cramer be aware that Pompliano is wrong as he can be about Bitcoin. It's really XRP.
I'm in gold for the alternative, but I don't know how my kids are going to pay down what happened. I think we had to do it to avoid a depression, so I'm glad we did it. But I see the dollar going down. And most importantly, I know that no one wants to raise taxes in this country. And even if we did raise taxes, we still can't afford it. We're not cutting Social Security. We're not cutting Medicare. We're on a collision course which makes me feel great about the gold I own. But I do feel that it's perfectly logical to add crypto to the menu. And now after speaking to you, I think that my kids, when they get my inheritance, won't feel comfortable with gold and will feel comfortable with crypto. And I don't want them, I try to put everything I own on one piece of paper. They won't understand the deposit box at, say, Toronto Dominion, okay? But they would understand crypto. And I have to start recognizing that maybe I am using a typewriter.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. is if you take 10% of your gold position, right? So just whatever you have allocated for your inflation hedge bucket. If you take 10% of that bucket, so let's say you have 10% in gold, you just take 1% of your portfolio, right? 10% of your gold.
I have.
Okay. Take 1%, you put it in Bitcoin. That 1% of Bitcoin will outperform the 9% of gold over the next 18 months. Hands down, not even close.
And you want me to actually do let my kids set up the Bitcoin for me?
Yeah, they'll do it, or I'll help you do it. Whoever will help you do it. It's super simple. And what you end up doing is you would end up owning 1% Bitcoin, right, in your portfolio. If it goes to zero, you lost 1%. Not the end of the day, right? Not happy, but not the end of the day.
No, but that's okay. I have stuff in it. I have an international fund that's done terribly until now. And I just said, look, I can't have all my eggs in U.S. basket. I want to have, like I said, I lost the masterpieces to my ex-wife. God love her, some beautiful paintings. Hey man, they're Toulouse-Lautrec. They're not gonna. But then I have the I have the gold. I have the so-called mansion, the real estate equation. Okay. And what I do is I need, and I'm not a paid spokesman for why I need gold or why I need crypto, but I just need something that my kids will understand as a hedge to inflation, and they will never understand gold. And the reason why they'll never understand gold is they think gold's dangerous. It's dangerous because it can be stolen. It's dangerous because they don't want to take it out of the bank. It's dangerous because they may forget where it is. Okay. I mean, let's say people talk about like, well, crypto gets hacked or whatever. You know what's really bad is when your kids can't find your gold. And that is, by the way, not unusual. So this is why I am fixated on needing to own crypto because I fear massive amount of inflation and I don't have, gold will do okay. And the houses will do okay. Those are going to keep.
All right. I just wanted to show you that clip. And you should get a couple of things out of that. The first is that he's talking about how his kids understand crypto. Well, that guy's one example out of literally millions of people who are about to, whose kids are going to inherit their wealth. And when they inherit their wealth, there's going to be a transition. Is that 1%? Is it 5%? Is it 20%? Is it 50% of that wealth that is going to flood into crypto because they know it and they love it? And it's a real thing. But the other thing to get out of this is for over 2 years, I told you that when the time is right, the traditional financial people will be selling this to you. Once they're ready to make the money, once they know how they're going to make the money on this, they are going. Now remember, this guy, you're looking at a guy who has been on board for all this time. He knew that the Federal Reserve was running the printing press, and for that reason, the stock market was going to go up. He participated in that, and that running our country up in debts. He watched it. He was a happy participant to watch the stock market go up when he knew that all of this was the result of central banks just printing money. And so now he's going to jump on the bandwagon. Well, that's pretty awful in my opinion, but hey, that's life. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that Jim Cramer is now about to start selling crypto. Thanks for listening.
Every day, billions of people around the world are mocked, ridiculed, laughed at, and embarrassed by their friends, family, and even strangers. These people go through their days knowing there are secrets being kept from them. They hear the faint whispers behind closed doors. The information and knowledge is held very close and only shared with others who were fortunate enough to find out. Feeling lost, rejected, and ostracized, these people give up, never finding out what digital assets the digital asset investor holds. But there is hope. Join the free Digital Asset Investor email newsletter and find out what digital assets he owns each month, including investments he's considering. Click the link in the description of this video or go to digitalassetinvestornewsletter.com. Put an end to your days of gloom and depression. Join the greatest free digital asset email newsletter ever created.